Alright, today I'm doing a door skin swap on my 2004 Saturn VUE with a door skin that I got off another 2004 Saturn VUE in the junkyard that happens to have the extra cladding on it. Yeah, I could pull the cladding off, but I read a lot of people had issues with those falling off when they were originally installed, and these seem to be intact very well. So I'm just going to do the whole skin. That way, worst case, I have a spare set of really nice skins that I can keep in case anything happens with the car in the future. So I figured I'd invite you along for the journey. Now, obviously, I already pulled the skins off. I did that yesterday to get myself familiar so I didn't sound like a complete idiot. Here's the tools you're going to need for the job. 10mm, a T30 Torx bit, various screwdrivers. I have this little guy just in case I need him to pry an electrical connector loose. I've got the plastic pry bar so that I don't damage anything interior wise when I'm pulling the mirror trim as well as the weather strip. I've got these little guys for helping to remove the weather strip without marring the car. I've got the Phillips screwdriver, and this little guy is going to help when we get to pulling the door handle. I just got to be a little bit careful with him. And also, I'd advise a set of needle nose pliers. Sorry about that, guys. I misplaced the ones I was using yesterday, so I pulled out another set. I find these little curved guys to be pretty helpful. That is also just something I found that made the job of pulling the door handles easier, but don't let me jump ahead. We'll get there when we get there. And I have my little cordless low torque guy over there to help with some final removals. All right, let's get to the car. Go ahead. I'm going to start by removing the mirror. Let me get some extra lighting in here. All right. I'm going to attempt to do this without getting all in the way. Found the easiest way is up in here where there's a little notch. I'm going to pry gentle, pops this pin, little clip here, out of this spot, and then you've got your two tabs that latch in here, so you don't want to yank, you want to kind of lift up and lay down. Now, for this, you can take this loose if you want. You just wiggle gently, there's no clip, and it'll come loose from the tweeter. Of course, I say that and it doesn't want to. Oh geez. Trust me, it does. I did it on the other car. I'm just not trying to waste y'all's time as I fiddle with that. Now for this, there's a little clip on here. I've already had these replaced once, so I know. There's a little tab right on the underneath. Hopefully y'all can see that. You're going to press down gently and separate. That's why I said the screwdriver will be helpful, because if these haven't been pulled off yet, this wire won't be loose. You pull down slightly and just pull that loose. Just like that. Now this guy is loose. You don't have to worry about him. You need your 10mm. Go ahead and loosen these up. Take them off. And be careful so they don't fall down into the door, because you've got this chasm here, so be very careful. I usually put my hand under, and these are pretty loose to come off, so I just spin versus ratcheting. Switch hands. I'm not blocking y'all. Almost to the end. Put your hand up under there. Block the hole. All right, and since we've already undone the wiring, let's lift the mirror out of the way so I'm pulling it someplace safe. All right, we'll move on to the next step. For this next part, we're back out of the car. You're going to want to remove this trim molding. You've got 2 Phillips screws. One's more of a bolt style based on the threads, and the other is a regular screw. The reason why is we're going to have to remove the molding. And as you can see from the one I've already done, that bottom screw is holding the molding in place. So we're going to want to go ahead and take that loose. So let me grab the screwdriver. I don't have a good place to set this, but back up to the top one. Sorry, as I'm standing in the light there. Now, as you'll see, the threads on that are more like a nut and a bolt type versus a regular screw. Our other one here is more of the regular screws you're used to. All right. Now move around to the front here, and you can't just yank this off. There's actually little tabbies in there, so you're going to want to pull ever so slightly to the rear and then lift up. You'll see on the back these little clips. Looks like somebody's been here ahead of me and has broken this one. So fortunately I have a spare. I'll be replacing that. All right, the part we're going to move on to now, over here on the outside, now that we've got that trim piece removed, is removing this weather strip. Now I've seen people wedge chisels, screwdrivers, things of that nature in here and press upward, whereas that is the motion we want is to lift this upward. You're risking the paint. Now if you have a trashed panel and you don't care, okay, great, but I happen to care about mine, so I did a little brainstorming and figured out a better idea. Do you see down in here how you have that little chasm? Well, that's going to work in our favor. So hang on and let me get y'all set up, and I'll pull the tools out to show you how we're going to do this. Nice fun dreary day outside, you can see with the rain. Fortunately the garage helps out. All right, this is when our microfiber, again our pry tool, I like this little angled one on the end, you can get them cheap at Harbor Freight. This little hook tool is going to help us out, and our cheap little microfiber. All right. Everybody kind of works in tandem here. Now you're just going to kind of get yourself in position with this pry tool and the microfiber. We're not going to do any prying with it. This is more just to catch the weather strip and use it to move along the way. You'll see as I go. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this so y'all can see. All right, we're going to insert our pry tool right here in this little gap. And we're going to we're wanting to release this and get it to come loose. Now, the fun part is doing this without blocking the camera, getting the right amount of leverage. All right, hang on one sec. All right, I just wanted to look at my other one to make sure. This one's a lot harder than the one at the junkyard was. Of course, it's just wanting to make me look bad on camera. The other one just slid up like nobody's business. There. All right. That's all you want to do to start it. And that's, as you saw, I kind of slipped the microfiber up under there. Whole point, yes, this is supposed to be a gentle tool, but it can still scratch. So I used the microfiber over top to protect the paint. And now that we're slipped in, we can work this across the body. I decided to slip to the larger one at this point when I did the other one, just to give myself a little bit more leverage. And we just gently, you're not trying to muscle it, you're just trying to get it loose all the way across the body. There we go. Now if you were to yank this up, you'd bend it. I'm trying to reuse these, so I don't want to bend them. So we're trying to finesse this and throw it over your head, apparently, when it does finally let loose. There you go. Some fun little outtakes for you. All right. Now while you have it off, this one isn't bad. The other one was covered in dirt and filth. You can see a little bit of dirt here. This little fuzz is what keeps the window protected from scratches. So I'd advise taking maybe a toothbrush or a gentle brush and going over these pieces of felt to clean them out before you reinstall. Now we're going to move on to loosening the screws here. Let me reposition the light for you. All right, we've got our Torx. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Open the door. 7, and Mr. 8 is hiding right there underneath that. Here's our door panel out of the car, so you can see where they are. Okay. Now this is where our T30 comes in place. You're just going to go around and loosen all of those. I'm not going to bore you with that, but you get the gist. They're not too bad. So let me go around and loosen all those guys up. Alright, this is not exactly the easiest to figure out how to get on film. What we're going after is this little guy right here. Okay. Now, I don't completely have my door shut because getting back in there will be fun once you remove the door panel. Alright, we're at the point where we were needing to remove this pin to get the door handle off to do the final removal of the skin. Let me show you how the pin is before we start doing this. Sorry, I got a little flustered there when everything went haywire. This is the pin we're going to remove. I know this is not in focus because of the way I've set everything up. It's basically the same type of pin as you'll find all over the car in the wheel wells and bumpers, but you're going to want to pull this tab loose enough that these little legs are squishy enough to come out. So the first thing we want to focus on is popping this head loose from the base, and then we're going to work on pulling the whole pin out. So I don't know how much I'll be able to translate as we go. Hopefully you'll be able to see the process on video. All right. There we go. Chose to use this little guy. Like I said, it's a nail puller, but it's good at getting in between the head and the base and just working the head of that pin. Okay, well that worked incredibly well. The others never came loose that easy. So basically when we worked the head loose, it was enough that the pin jumped out. Well, this has just turned into a cluster of a video. Hopefully I learned how to patch things together, because for some reason it quit recording right as I was pulling the door handle. What you're going to want to do is lift the door handle and slide it towards the rear after removing the pin. And you see these little points here. once that pin's out, it'll just slide off. And that's how you remove the handle. Now we're going to move on to the skin. Like I said, hopefully I can patch these videos into one. All right, bear with me. For me and for the sake of my sanity, I had not completely taken these guys out yet because I wanted to know that the door panel wouldn't be flopping around while I was pulling that door handle off. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, remove these guys. I had done 90% of the removal. Keep it in there. That's what happens when you look at the camera, not at what you're doing. All right. Now, pause, y'all. I was trying to avoid getting on film. I'm not really dressed for film, but nobody had shown this part on the videos. So you're going to be loose here. And what we're looking at is on this panel, which this is the front. You see that little tab? Let's see, make sure y'all can see that. This little tab right here. That is resting underneath where the mirror normally goes. The one we're worried about is back towards the handle. Here, see where he is, right about in the middle of the handle? You're going to have to lift up to get him. I lifted up at the wrong angle. He's a little loose, like a loose tooth on a child. So that's our goal, is lifting up on the bottom slightly enough, because we've got to clear this area, not tripping and falling over the light that I have on the ground. And then lifting this panel up. So let's see if it behaves. All right, I got the front loose. Okay. That was not breaking of anything. These are intact. What that actually was is these clips. This door panel's apparently been off before. This was already broken. Oh, Lord have mercy. If y'all can see, that piece was already broken. I was having trouble getting it to remove as it was. So that was what you heard go ping. It was caught, apparently, and had to let go. Apparently I had two that were messed up. Looks like this one as well. So somebody definitely been in this door panel before. I didn't have that issue on the new used one. All right. There they are together. You can see that trim along the bottom. That's what I was trying to get. So I'm going to do a separate video of the install. Wow, this has turned out to be a mishmash of a video. So I will be back with yet another video showing you how to install this beast.